Really? Really, March? You're gonna do me like that? It snowed more in March so far here in Ohio than it has all winter. Classroom chat. Roll intro. I would describe my week this week as the week of organized chaos. And usually those two words don't go together, but I've really found my stride with my small group time. An hour and change in the morning for reading and an hour and change in the afternoon for math. And the students are just getting really used to the schedule as well. And we do it daily. We used to do it like every other day, but now we're doing it daily. And the true beauty of doing my small groups the way that I do them, giving students choice, perceived choice, is the freedom that they have to move about and the freedom that I have to work with students whoever I want, whenever I want. And when you have students that are doing what they want to be doing, they're going to be engaged. Very little am I making a student do something. Sometimes if a student's on computer and I call them to come work with me, it's their turn, I'll get a little bit of pushback. But I always remind them they can go back when they're done. So the beauty is that they're not where they don't want to be. They are somewhere. They're gravitating towards something. You just have to give them enough choices that there's always something that they're going to want to do. Because the worst thing about doing choice time is if I'm a kid and I don't want to do any of the choices, I'm probably going to act out. Or I'm going to just wander around or bother somebody. So when you just kind of have to feel it out. So I am in the need to change up a few things. Just add a couple different varieties. So I added my watercolor paint center this week. And this week it was just painting. Anytime I use a new tool or activity, I let them play with it first. Next week, it's not going to be just painting. I'll have an activity with it. Haven't decided what yet. Maybe it'll be a spelling, or maybe it'll be a 5 times each sight word, something like that. And then after they've got that done, then they can do a painting of their own choice. It's all about infusing new things while keeping old things and rotating the old stuff while slowly infusing new stuff to keep things fresh. You don't want things to get stale on them because then they're not going to be as engaged. So the organized chaos comes from there's kids everywhere. It's not everybody in their seat right now doing this, and this. There's kids over here, there's kids over there. So it's a nice feeling because you know that they're doing what they want to do. And as long as everybody's on board and as long as everybody's engaged, it can be a magical time. You got Bob Marley playing in the background. You got the natural sunlight shining through. I'm sipping on my coffee. I'm doing meaningful work with students. There's kids that are helping other kids. It's a really cool thing to see. I would wish I could film it. It's like, good week. If you're not yet comfortable with small groups, watch some of my old videos on small groups. Maybe get some ideas. I know testing is coming up, so you might not want to start now. Maybe, I don't know, give it a try if you want. But next year, definitely try it out. If you haven't got the time this year, try it out because it's hugely beneficial. So that's my spiel on small groups. I have to clean off my tables every single Friday. They get straight funky. So these disinfectant wipes are nice. Sometimes you gotta have the straight up like heavy duty industrial cleaner with just dilute it with a little bit of water, you know? But the stuff that gets on these tables is just, it's nasty. Don't overlook the value of having a clean, organized space as far as student behavior is concerned. Think about it. If you walk into somebody's house and there's stuff everywhere, boxes everywhere, just stuff on the floor, and it's not, even if it's not necessarily dirty, but maybe it's like just cluttered. Every stuff everywhere, right? How does it make you feel? Probably makes you feel a little bit anxious or nervous. So think about that for your classroom too. It becomes easier to keep your classroom clean if you have less stuff. So I recommend once a month doing a purge. Walking around every area of your classroom and ask yourself, do I use this? Do I use this every day, every week? If the answer is no, get rid of it. Unless it's something seasonal, then you should have an organization thing for that, seasonal stuff. But you got to think about that though, like having the minimalist design of your classroom, having as little of things as possible to get the job done. It just creates I don't know. I don't like having a lot of stuff that I'm not going to use. I like looking at something and going, oh yeah, that's my this, and I use it for that. And the kids can learn that too, and then it's easier to help clean up at the end of the day when kids know where stuff goes. There's not extra stuff everywhere. So I'm not perfect. I've got some stuff that I don't use, but I try once a month. I try to purge, and I don't know, like, let me show you one thing this is what really bothers me. It's this cabinet. This is my one last thing I have to do. But here's the deal. Let's open it up here. You probably have one like this, right? I tried to organize it. You know, math stations right here. I gotta get rid of some of this. Like, why? Why do I have this? Reading stations. I just got way too much stuff. And then extra stuff. And then just like, why? What is all this stuff, right? Like, there's a few cabinets that I have to go through yet, but the visible stuff, the stuff that kids can see, like it to be semi-nice, organized, so kids can see what's available to them, kids know what's going on, and they don't feel anxious. Something that made this week, I think, extra nice, extra good, I will tell you, I laughed harder today than I've laughed in a long time in the classroom. What happened was, I was in a small group, and it had ended. And I actually had two students that I was like, all right, go pick your center now, our work is done, good job. And they said, nope, I want to stay here with you. I was like, I don't have anything else to do. This is kind of it, right? And it was the end of math time, and we were gonna do our next thing. And I looked around, I stopped for a minute, knowing that it's time to be done. I looked around the room. There were kids engaged on computers. There was kids doing other stuff. The students were engaged. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna just like rip them off what they're doing. They're learning, they're engaged, they're not hurting themselves or others. So I'm like, all right, let's just roll with it. And I can't remember how we got to this. Seriously? Hello? All right, it's Friday night, and Kristen and I are just gonna be in the house watching a movie. It's movie March Madness still, so we're going to watch a movie, and we're gonna eat. We eat pizza rolls and mozzarella sticks. That's what we do Friday nights if we have nothing else going on, and it is awesome. Okay, where was I? Gosh. Okay, for my wife, come on, Kristen. But, I don't remember how we got started with this, but it turned into one of my students pretending to be me. He sat in my teaching chair, and the other kids he sat in my guided reading chair, and other kids sat around, and he had these 10-frame subitizing cards, and he kept asking them what they were, and if they got it right, he would give it to them. It was the funniest thing ever, because not only was he trying to be a teacher, he was actually mimicking some of my mannerisms, and he was like saying some of the things that I say. At one point, he was starting to get frustrated because nobody was listening to him, so I said, not so easy, is it? And he's like, no, they're not listening. So I kind of stepped in and kind of helped facilitate the game for a bit, and then I actually sat down in one of the student chairs, and I played too, and the students were trying to beat me, and it was a lot of fun. So, this is an important job. It should not be taken lightly. As a teacher, you have a huge, awesome responsibility. But that being said, it's okay to sometimes kind of just roll with what happens. If you're doing a science lesson and your kids are super engaged, maybe just don't do math that day or whatever and stay on the science topic. It's okay sometimes to just roll with what the kids are enjoying doing. It's okay to be spontaneous sometimes and just throw out your plans and say, you know what? We're doing this instead. That's the beauty of this profession is if you're blessed enough to be in a building, a school building where you're given the autonomy and you're given control over what you can teach to some extent, right? But if you have that ability, that's incredible. Like, use it sometime. You can't do it every day, obviously, but today was a fun day. And no, it wasn't perfect. No, my kids didn't act perfect. No, I wasn't perfect, but it was a good day. And yeah, it was just nice. And the last thing that I kind of want to talk about is basically, if I've learned anything from this week, it's that attitude is everything. Honestly, as the week goes on, I can tell that my patience wore thinner and thinner every day, but being able to reset myself every day, every night, not taking stuff home and getting out of school early on most days helps me reset. So that way I can deal with all the problems that come up. But teaching is so much about your attitude. Like, I can't stress that enough. There was a couple times this week where in the past I might have raised my voice and yelled, but instead I took a big breath and then I didn't yell. So it's just about your attitude. So if you have a bad day or a bad week, reflect and ask, did my attitude have anything to do with it? And the answer is probably yes. So your classroom is your second home. So something that I like to do is I like to add little personal touches to my classroom so that it feels like my second home, and I have some of the luxuries of home here. That's why I have K-cups here. That's why I have a candy drawer. That's why I have some snacks for myself. That's why I've got some posters and things that I like. You're going to be in your classroom a lot. So make it your own. All of this, everything that I'm saying, it ties together, I promise. It's all about your overall classroom community and climate, your attitude, your positivity. Everything works together. It's like being a conductor in an orchestra. You've got to make all these moving parts work together to make something beautiful. That's what teaching is all about. So, thanks for watching. Find your gift, share it with the world, and remember, you are worth it. See you tomorrow.